Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Irwin, and I'm an assistant professor of communication design at Washington University in St. Louis. Today, I will be sharing about typographic thresholds, addressing climate urgency. Through my recent research, I've been asking these guiding questions. In what ways can designers use typography as a medium for communicating climate urgency? Additionally, how can we move beyond representational strategies to consider our methodology, materials, and format to engage audiences in a meaningful way? David Attenborough has famously claimed that saving our planet is now a communications challenge. We know what to do, we just need the will. We are designing for an audience that is inundated with statistics, headlines, and disasters. So our role is no longer just to effectively communicate the information, but to find ways to disrupt the numbing flow of consumption. Today, I will share two typographic projects that address the climate emergency. These projects are not traditional data visualizations or fact-driven narratives. Rather, they are expressive typographic experiences. Through this work, I'm considering how typography is particularly suited to make abstract concepts more tangible. The first project involves a visual identity system for Climate for Change, which is an exhibition of work by the artist collective Atlantica. As I worked with the artists on a direction for the exhibition identity, it became clear that a custom typographic solution would best communicate the unifying themes of the work. The collective at its core is collaborative. A typographic approach allowed for addressing the climate issues and their work as a whole, instead of just highlighting individual artists or isolated issues. Through my process, I was investigating the question, how could method and material help translate concept? Spliced and shifted paper could demonstrate fractured ecosystems. Black hot glue could distort and melt forms. Water could disrupt the type and shift the meaning. But ultimately, the themes in the work were not about isolated issues, but more about urgency and a call for collective action. And this led to methods involving repetition that could show shifts in impact upon the letter forms. Ripple effects, dissolving forms, and other disruptions could affect perception. The final typographic expression was selected because of its ability to capture not only the degradation and urgency, but also a hope for change. And this is communicated through the reforming and regeneration of the typography. The identity evolved as it translated across promotional materials and the exhibition catalog. The catalog design allowed for a deeper complexity in the design system, where both macro and micro typography responded to the content. One strategy utilized in the design system was to communicate urgency through a reference to a news ticker or scrolling display of headlines. And this led to images and typography that wrapped around the spreads, as if they were moving faster than the turn of a page. This strategy occurs in the title typography, the imagery, and even the body text throughout. The catalog was an opportunity to build upon the concept and themes and to capture the messaging of the collective body of work. And this was a very collaborative process with the artists, and they truly saw the value of the role of typography in conveying the meaning behind their work. To understand the impact and efficacy of this work, I sought feedback from these artists and other attendees at the exhibition. And these were some of the responses I received: that the typography created an important tension, the feeling on the verge of a tipping point; that the text does not behave as one would expect. It's disorienting and intensifying intentionally to reflect the urgent need and potential for change. And the typographic expression suggests that the problems we face are of exceptional importance, and that at a time when our attention is so divided, deserve our time and careful consideration. This feedback led me to create another climate-focused piece, which was a participatory typographic installation. The idea for this work came from my research and resulting feelings of overwhelm concerning the climate crisis. The more I read, the more I felt paralyzed by how intricate and interconnected all of the issues were, that you couldn't just tackle one at a time because everything lives in relationship to each other and therefore must be considered simultaneously. I sought to capture this giant idea, the interconnection and impact of one issue upon another. I felt this could best be captured through typography and language, using letter forms to represent the interconnected units. Beyond typographic form, I began to explore how format and participation could affect interpretation. The typography of Tipping Point is divided into a grid of 25 original units. These 25 units represent the most commonly identifiable tipping points, 9 of which are immediately urgent. The research shows that as we meet these tipping points, it accelerates how quickly we will meet the others. And this is all due to these interconnected relationships of ecological systems on our planet. Audience participation is key to capture the meaning in this piece. As one panel is flipped, it disrupts the typographic legibility and at times leads to a cascade of unfolding panels. The visual form of the installation transforms throughout its time in public space. And although it is challenging to encourage this kind of public interaction, particularly in a gallery space, once it starts, there is a ripple effect of engagement. This work has now been exhibited for 3 different exhibitions. Through dialogue and observation with those audiences, I have a few important takeaways. The format and participatory nature of the piece are the most impactful for conveying meaning. Additionally, the use of language versus representational imagery allows for open interpretation with how this meaning could be applied. At first, audiences feel like they're doing something wrong when they engage with the work, but this is all an important part of the experience. And once they participate, they can quickly see impact from one small move. I also received feedback that the impact of the work was felt with both urgency and hope. So we can see the impact of our negative choices and their consequential disruptions, but we can also see the power in our positive ones, how one change can lead to a cascade of positive impact. Thank you so much for taking the time to hear about my research, my process, and my learnings from engaging with typography and our changing climate. Thank you.